Today's adventure brings us to South Brevard Street and East Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in beautiful downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. And we're here today to check this little place out. This is the Nascar Hall of Fame. Look at this architecture. Check that out. Pretty awesome. It's kind of like an oval, which is very fitting for NASCAR. Alright guys, I'm here in downtown Charlotte. We're here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and it is a very brisk morning here in the Carolinas as we're just kind of recovering from a bit of a snowstorm here in recent weeks. It's a balmy 35 degrees this morning and very chilly, and I wanted to do some vlogging today. I wanted to get out and make some content, so this is an indoor thing. I've been wanting to come back here and visit. I've not been here since like 2011 maybe, so I want to go inside and show you guys what's in here. So if you ever come to the the Charlotte area for a race or just visiting, this here would be something kind of cool to do, to spend your time and have a good time and learn a little bit about the history of this great sport. So let's go inside and let's see what we can see today. Come on. All right guys, we are in the door. We got all signed up, and man, this place is pretty freaking awesome. You just look around. So when you get your ticket and you first come in, right here on the left, you have like a little map area. It says explore the hall. You have like 4 levels here, and we actually want to start off here on level 2. This is where the High Octane Theater is, the Pit Stop Cafe, Great Hall, and Glory Road. This is where the main entrance is, down here where you come in. So you come in here and you actually get your ticket, and then you just walk over here, and then you open up into where Glory Road is. It's pretty cool. And right off the bat, we have the 1980 champion, Dale Earnhardt. I think this was his 2nd season. Very young Dale Earnhardt when he started out. Here's the race car. Most people think of Dale Earnhardt, they always think about the number 3 car, the black. Wrangler was the sponsorship on this car. We have his name up here on the top, and you kind of look down in the race car. This is something else I think is really cool, is they have different racetrack, like the pieces of the track surface, and you can actually feel it and feel how rough some of the tracks are. Some of them are more smooth. I always thought that was really cool. It's got the year that it opened. I don't know if I can get into where you can see the texture of Sonoma. And then right here we have Watkins Glen International Raceway up in New York. Much smoother surface, as you can see. And there is Dale Earnhardt's other car. That's his black Goodwrench number 3 that he was really known for. So he kind of started his career off here in the number 2 and then went to the number 3 where he drove for Richard Childress Racing. Then next up, this here is the 1964 championship car of Richard Petty. Petty Enterprises. Look at that baby picture. Wow. What a cool era for auto racing. I mean, it's like they took these cars back then just off the showroom, stripped them down, put some bars in them, souped the engine up, of course, and went racing. I mean, look, you still had the lever to get in the car, you know, right there's where you would lock the door. Man, what a big difference from 1964 to now. And there's the lugs, 5 on 5 off. But you know the changes of NASCAR now in 2022, I don't guess you have 5 on 5 off no more. I think they just have 1 lug on the new cars. This here is another one. I love that color. I don't know if you can see it because it's all backwash with light, but let's see if we can get down. There we go. Richard Petty's number 43. Classic Petty blue with that day glow orange. It's so bright, colorful. That is the 1979 Richard Petty Championship. Move up the way here, we got the 2006 champion Jimmy Johnson. And this was my era. Well, you know, this is when I probably watched more NASCAR racing, was in this era. I really watched Jimmy Johnson just come in as a nobody kind of in 2001, and he just took the series by storm. He was just unbelievable. I can remember his first race he won at California. That was a big deal because he was from California, so what a cool way to get your first win. And here we are. Guess that was his first championship down there, and this here is the 2016 Jimmy Johnson championship car. Look at all the confetti and stuff on it. So we have a lot of confetti on that car for real. And you can see there in the middle of the, up here at the top of the screen, you can see those like little square flags. That's how many wins he had that year. You get one of those stickers every time you win. And they would put them up there on the close to your name. So here the next car in line after we just checked out Jimmy Johnson. This is Jeff Gordon's 1997 championship car. You see all the rock chips and grime all over the car. Just the way it was that day. How cool is that? Look at that, man. NASCAR Winston Cup. I remember when these guys won the races, they would have to name most of these sponsors, man, to tell them thank you for giving us money while we can go out and drive these race cars. Busch beer pole. A lot of my sim racing friends was big Jeff Gordon fans back when I used to do a lot of iRacing, and man, I hope they get to come down here and check us out sometime. Here's the mufflers, the exhaust. Right here's where we would jack up the car during those pit stops. The Rainbow Warriors was really, really good. You had to have the total package to beat Jeff Gordon on a Sunday back then. I mean, he was just phenomenal. And trust me, I remember, because I was a Dale Jarrett fan, and I remember Jeff Gordon was just, every freaking week, he was like right there, ready to win. I mean, he was so dominant. Him and Ray Evernham really changed the sport, how to set up cars and how innovative they was. And here we have the 1968 champion of David Pearson. 16 wins in one season, man, that is crazy. 38 top 10s, 12 poles. The Silver Fox. That car looks so cool with the gold on it. Yeah, I like that car. East Tennessee Motor Company. So this is David Pearson's car. Look at the gold. It's pretty wild. And here's another This is Pocono Raceway. They actually have a piece of the track surface here to let you see. Look how abrasive that is. You wouldn't think Pocono would have been that abrasive, but I guess it was. Here's the 1978 champion of Kell Yarbrough's car. Junior Johnson, he owned this car, which later, as we'll see here in a second, Dale Earnhardt was also famous for winning in the Mountain Dew number 11. This was not the Mountain Dew car. First National City Travelers checks. And instead of having the name up here above the window, they actually chose back then to put it down here, you know, close to the hood and the door panel, and actually Kell's on the front left quarter panel. And here's DW, 1981 champion, Jaws. Man, he had a good year too. They got 12 wins, 11 poles. I always liked that car as a kid. I even think I had like a little, you know, small scale of it that I would play in my sandbox. I think I had a Mountain Dew number 11. I didn't know who Dale Earnhardt was at that time, but I remember playing with it. Pretty sure. This is Tony Stewart's car. Is it Chevy? Yep. Nope. Pontiac. They later went to Chevy a few years later. And back then, when he was driving this car, I don't really see anything what year this was. Oh, 2002 championship car. So he wasn't really known as Smoke yet. So it actually says Tony Stewart on the car. Later years, you know, it would just say Smoke up there. So next up, they actually have an area here where we can actually walk up on this banking. So this is 14 degrees of banking. This is like Auto Club Speedway. Pretty rough. Let's see. And you can definitely feel the banking. Herb Thomas. So this next car up here, this is a 1957 championship car of Buck Baker. Chevrolet. I never really knew a lot of Buck Baker. I did know, I think it was his son he used to call some of the races on TV, Buddy Baker. He had a very classic voice on television when he would call NASCAR races back in the day. And he was quite a good driver himself. I think he was a Daytona 500 champion. Over here we have Benny Parsons, number 72. Bobby Allison, 1983 championship car. Buick Regal. Part of the Alabama gang. And up here we have a very famous car from back in the day, especially the late 80s, with Bill Elliott, the Coors car, number 9, which his son Chase races today with that same number. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. I can remember back when he would run this car at Talladega, Daytona. This is pre-restrictor plate racing. And he would just dominate. I mean, he was always like the man to beat at those tracks. I think that this day he still holds qualifying records. I think at Daytona it was an average speed of 210, and maybe Talladega was 212 average speed. I mean, if you could just imagine that. In the draft today, they don't run that fast, you know, and he was doing it by himself. but it was a non-restricted motor. But you know, anybody who followed the sport back then knew when you went to Talladega and Daytona, Bill Elliott was going to be somebody you had to deal with at some point in that day. And that was his 1988 championship car, the Ford Thunderbird. I remember my first NASCAR game I ever played on Nintendo was actually, it was something about Bill Elliott NASCAR racing or something like that. You only had like 4 tracks, I think, that you could race, but that was my first NASCAR video game I ever played. Here we got Rusty Wallace's number 27, 1989 championship, Pontiac Grand Prix. That was his first and only championship. He raced most of his career in a Ford, number 2 Ford, the Miller Lite Ford, and you know, and then they changed the color from the black and gold he had over to like the blue deuce. Very, very good driver. He was amazing. I remember watching races back then. Anytime Rusty Wallace went to Richmond, Bristol, those short tracks, road courses, he was always a factor. And then this man up here, Alan Kulwicki, very interesting. If there was ever a underdog story in NASCAR, this is one of the best ones. He was a privateer, owner, driver, you know, 1992, and he took this car and won a championship with it. And he was racing, you know, big teams with more money than he had, I'm sure. And you didn't have super teams at that time, but the times were really changing at that point in NASCAR. You was starting to get a lot more teams with 2-car teams, you know, things like that was starting to happen. They were starting to figure out, like, the more cars we got, the more testing we can do, you know. Only had 2 wins that season and still won the championship, because back in those days you didn't have no playoff system. You had the person who won the championship back in those days, you know, pre-2004. It was all about consistency. You know, top 5s was what you aimed for every week. And if you got up there and ran good in the top 5, you know, and, you know, Lady Luck smiled on you, got in a good position at the end of the race, you could win a couple races. Man, this is steep right here. This is 34 degrees of banking. And I'm gonna tell you something, I can't like even stand on that. Look at my feet. Yeah, this is insane. Like, that is so steep. I can remember, I don't know if Bristol Motor Speedway still got 36 degrees of banking. I don't know if it does, but that is an ankle breaker right there for real. So we looked at the Glory Road exhibit. So now we're at the legendary decade. First 50 inductees, NASCAR Hall of Fame exhibit. Class of 2010. This here was our first inductees. I guess we got Richard Petty, Junior Johnson, William C. France Jr., William H.G. France, and Dale Earnhardt. There's Bill France car. There's Dale Earnhardt. That looks like his last win at Talladega, if memory serves me correct. That was at Talladega, I think, in 2000. And here is my favorite driver. This is his father's car. This is Ned Jarrett, and I love this blue. This blue, oh man, it just pops. I ain't kidding. I would love to have a car this color. This is beautiful. It's kind of cool they used to put the horsepower on the hood back then. That's pretty neat. And Ned Jarrett, I think he was a 2-time Grand National champion. that. Number 11, Courtesy Ford, Charlotte, North Carolina. And this here is the 2012. I am so sorry about that backlight, man. I just zoom in a little bit, see if I can make this work. 2012 NASCAR Hall of Fame inductees. There we go. Darrell Waltrip, Glenwood. One of my favorites from the way back, Kell Yarbrough. Richie Evans. It's like a modified. Next up, right here is David Pearson's number 6. Once again, we're going to zoom in to see if we can get a better shot of these guys. 2013. There's Buck Baker. Rusty Wallace. We just looked at his car a few minutes ago. He's got that Miller light on. Back when he drove the Blue Deuce. Jack Ingram's number 11. So what we got here. All right, 2014. I definitely remember this year. Right there he is. Dale Jarrett, my favorite driver. Growing up, I always cheered for DJ. He was a local guy from Hickory, North Carolina. Gentleman on the racetrack, hard driver, but very clean. And I think that's what I liked about him, you know. He never really bumped into anybody. It seemed like he always found a way to just get around people without hitting them too much. Because I think his philosophy was, you know, anybody can just ram somebody out of the way. It takes a lot of talent and finesse to just get around them clean as possible. And I think that's why I always kind of gravitated to old DJ. Not that he never hit anyone, but I think he really tried hard not to hit people. Everybody had their style. That's what was so cool about NASCAR back then. Just go back and think about the characters that was in NASCAR, you know, 20 years ago, you know. I mean, it was just so many characters. It reminds you of wrestling back in the day, you know, you had all these characters. And that's exactly what it was. I mean, there's all kinds of video of some of the NASCAR racers. It might have been Buddy Baker. He was driving and had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. This was actually, right here, this is kind of cool. This is Wendell Scott. It's pretty neat. And I love it down here on his car. It says mechanic, you know, and you're thinking, oh, you don't have your crew chief right there. And he just put me. Because if anybody knows any history about Wendell Scott, he done everything. He done it all. And I don't know how true it is, because you know how stories are, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, just because it's kind of cute. I heard, I think it was at Darlington Raceway, way back in the day. He actually got out of his car that day, changed his tires, and then got back in the car and took off. Unbelievable. And then we got the class of 2016 here. Bruton Smith, Terry Labonte, Bobby Isaac, Jerry Cook, Curtis Turner. And right here is Bobby Labonte's number 5, Kellogg's Cornflakes. And I was talking about Dale Jarrett earlier, what a clean driver he was. This man right here was so consistent, and he was very similar. I mean, he had that similar style, and I always respected these guys because of that. Now, after the Bristol race that one year when Dale Earnhardt spun him out a couple times, I'm sure he wasn't feeling too like it was worth driving like that at that point. I think that was when the term, oh, I just meant to rattle his cage, I didn't mean to wreck him, come along. Mark Martin. Look at that. Number 6, man, that brings back some memories. Javelin, Mark Martin. Look at that. class of 2017 right up here. See if we can just zoom in a little bit. You got Richard Childress, a car owner for Dale Earnhardt for many years. Dale Earnhardt's best friend. You got Rick Hendrick, another great car owner, still to this day. Mark Martin, Benny Parsons. Benny Parsons was a really great NASCAR driver. He was from Ellerbe, North Carolina. But you know what? I think I liked him. He was probably one of my favorite color commentary guys. I mean, when he was on the mic calling a race, he always just made it awesome. This is actually Ron Hornaday Jr.'s truck. Longhorn. Man, it's tight in there, ain't it? Look at that. I mean, that steering wheel is practically in your chest. And up there's the rearview mirror. When you can just see them getting smaller and smaller, you know that's a good thing. In other words, you're pulling away. And this right here, this car is awesome. I love Davey Allison's Javelin Ford. This thing was so iconic. Looking back at it now, it was just, I think it's the shine on the Javelin, the reflective, that reflective look to it. I think that's just so cool. You know, you don't see stuff like that no more. I don't even know if NASCAR allows you to do that anymore, but look at the 28, that reflectiveness. I like that. That's really neat. All right, man. So this here, the final one, let's go ahead and take a quick look at this. It's the class of 2019. And this is the one where Jeff Gordon, he gave a pretty emotional speech. As I can imagine how emotional he would be. I mean, NASCAR was everything to him, So we had Davey Allison, Jeff Gordon, Alan Kwiecki, who also perished in an accident. I think the same year or the year after Davey. It was really close together. That was really kind of before my time, really following the sport super close. But then we had Jack Roush and Roger Penske, who were two of the greatest owners in the sport, even to this very day. So real quick, when you're standing here in the middle of this showroom area, you got like the NASCAR Hall of Fame here, but I just realized they have these little placards here on the ground. On the floor, it's got different tracks. So it says that Talladega Super Speedway, Talladega, Alabama, and it will actually show you how many miles from this point you are from the track. Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Texas. Yeah, we're 952 miles away. And this has got to be the furthest one. This is in California. This is the old Riverside road course that they used to run way back in the day, which they don't go there anymore, but it's 2,065 miles away. And Charlotte Motor Speedway, of course, is very close. It's only 6 miles away, up in Concord. So I just thought that was something I just wanted to show you. When you come here, little details like that, I always try to shed some light on it. So once you come in here in this area, this is pretty cool. This is where all the inductees are. And this here is this year's inductees here in 2022. We're going to stop here. This is Red Farmer. This is his race car.
Was named the 1999 Truck Series Rookie of the Year. Despite proving himself, opportunities dried up, so Mike returned north and cemented his legendary status in his own style.
He was an unusual driver because...
And right over here, maybe one of the most popular drivers ever in NASCAR, you have Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s
The honor to be
fire
involved
suit.
with a prestigious company, especially his mentor.
And he was a 2-time Busch Series champion. And right here's the cup for that. The Winston Lowe's Motor Speedway 2000 winner, May 20th. I was there. He beat my driver, Ned Jarrett. He took 4 tires, I think, toward the end of the race. and end up winning the race. What a fantastic job. There's a second Nationwide Series
contributions on many stages.
There's been drivers throughout the years, Richard Petty.
Check out all these rings. There's his 2004 Daytona 500 championship.
Have carried the sport to different levels.
Daytona 500 rings.
I don't think you can measure.
Those are pretty fancy.
Anybody that's ever been in the sport.
2001 to 2003, as well as winning the 2004 and 2014 Daytona 500s.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won the Daytona 500 for the second time in his career.
I think today he's going
awesome.
meant to do. When it comes to interviews,
Dale Jr., that
knowing
car
the sport the
is
way he does,
amazing looking.
I think that's where he shines the most.
He's very
And this is
authentic,
so
he's
cool.
very real.
So we just come out of the inductee area. We're going to walk over here to the directory. And you can see you are here. They got the Inside NASCAR Pit Crew Challenge Simulator. This is the simulators right here, which is I think powered by iRacing, or it used to be last time I was here. So you can pay admission. When you get your ticket, you can actually buy like a combo. So a general admission is like $25 to get in, and I think for like $34 or $35 you can buy this combo that allows you to come here and drive the simulators. This time we can come over here, we can actually see the chassis. Kind of give you an idea of what a chassis looks like when you don't have the body hung on it. See the springs. Look at all the safety innovation in this chassis. These roll bars, halo bars, protect the driver. When they have those big impacts, those crashes, it's so dangerous. Look at the size of that spring compared to the one in the front. And next up we have the engine. NASCAR mandates that engines are all 358 cubic inch V8s. All components in the engines, including block cylinder heads and intake and exhaust manifolds, must be approved by NASCAR, or you will get penalized. Ford Racing actually has the Rouse Yates racing engine. These headers. You got your transmission area, you got your drive shaft under your rear end. And then look at the brakes that they got back here in the back, the Brembo brakes, which anybody in performance cars, you know the name Brembo. They're in all your souped up high performance cars, even on your road. All your GT500, your Shelby Ford Mustang cars, your Camaro ZL1s, all those guys use Brembo brakes. Well, you can't have a NASCAR Hall of Fame without Lightning McQueen from Disney, right? From Cars. There he is in all his glory, cheesing, because he knows he's fast. You know, and they got a lot of cars in here, and there ain't a whole lot of them that has do not touch signs on it, but they made sure that you can't touch Lightning Mr. McQueen. I guess Disney's like, yeah, we'll loan it to you, but we don't want no scuffs on it. All right, so this big chunk of concrete right here, or asphalt, is actually from Atlanta Motor Speedway's last race, because they recently repaved the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So that's kind of neat. They actually saved a hunk of it. So when you come to the Hall of Fame, you can see what the old surface used to look like. All right, we got us some Hall of Fame rings. I think that is such a cool trophy, the Auto Club 400 trophy. I like that little car with the surfboard on it and it's pulling like the race car, the winning car. It's pretty neat. New Hampshire. I guess they taxidermied that because they do give you a live lobster when you win the race. So right here we have the Sonoma Raceway trophy from the road course out there, not too far from San Francisco. So it's wine country out there. So actually the trophy obviously has like a wine bottle on it. That's pretty cool. But this right here is probably one of my favorite trophies in all of NASCAR. It's been around so long. The Monster Mile in Dover. And I love that monster, like holding the car up there in the air. I just think that is so awesome. So cool. It's just a 124 scale die cast that they put in it. But it just looks, I just love the monster. Iowa Speedway gives you just like a gas pump with some corn in it. Here's the Martinsville grandfather clock that Jeff Gordon has a ton of these. That was Rusty Wallace's April 23rd, 1995. That was his clock. He donated, I guess. Talladega Super Speedway, the Geico 500 trophy. Interesting. The most popular trophy in all of NASCAR, obviously, their Super Bowl, the Daytona 500 trophy. Harley J. Earl trophy. Pretty cool. There's the Homestead. It's just like a Ford steering wheel. I guess that's where the term, when you take the race car out, bring the steering wheel back. That's it. Go win. So this is a pretty cool little interactive area. We have a place where you can tap your card that they give you at the beginning. You tap it, brings your beautiful face up, and then has just a map, has all the tracks on it. So I guess you can go on here and kind of check out, learn a little bit about the tracks, how fast they are. So just for fun, we'll do Charlotte.
Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Wow, that's huge.
24 degrees of banking, narrow back straightaway, and it can be treacherous.
So you can actually see them. It's computer generated, but kind of what it looks like as the cars go around the racetrack. The layout. Go, 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 go. 1960 is when the track opened. Average speed 183 miles an hour, 1.5 miles. Next race date 2023. So don't forget about this. This is kind of just a neat thing. It's right here in the middle where all the trophies and stuff are in this room. So we're gonna walk over here next and we're gonna check out the cup. This is the championship. That's pretty cool. I've never really noticed it or seen it up close before, but look at all the tracks that are intertwined.
I'm not gonna let this thing out.
You can see Daytona. If you know anything about NASCAR, right here's Pocono, without a doubt. And then maybe this one right here could be Bristol. I think that's Bristol Motor Speedway. So it has all the tracks just kind of, you know, intertwined, which will give you a headache if you look at it too long, but it is pretty neat. And I can see Sonoma, the road course track right here in this area. And maybe that's California, you know, coming this way. The 2.5 mile super speedway out there in, I think it's Ontario. That's a pretty cool trophy. I kind of like that. Pretty neat. So this next area here is the qualifying area. This is free. This don't cost anything. If you're familiar with iRacing, that's what this is. You can come in here and try a qualifying lap at the track. I don't know what track they're actually on. Oh, Charlotte. They're at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So you can just sit here in these stools and you see the you got the steering wheel, you got your gas pedals, and you can give it a shot. So Jimmy Johnson recently retired, and they must have, like, you know, quite a few of his fire suits here on display, by the way. I mean, look at this. A lot of Jimmy Johnson fire suits here. If you're a Jimmy Johnson fan, you'll be quite happy. Right here's his Monster Mile 2017 victory. That was June 4th, 2017. And right here is the car paint scheme and everything that he had during the race. I think that is so neat. They put those die casts on there and the monster's holding it. So you conquered the Monster Mile. It's pretty cool, which he did very, you know, many times in his career. That was one of his best tracks, I believe. And this is pretty cool here. So this must, I think this is his last car he had, where he at Phoenix maybe. 7-time Premier Series champion Jimmy Johnson finishes strong. Yeah, Phoenix, November 8th, 2020. So this was the race car, his last race, where I think he finished 5th. Look at all the grime, dirt, pieces, chunks of rubber. Look at all that debris on that race car. But this up here is a pretty neat area. This is kind of they call it Heritage Speedway. So this is like a then and now of NASCAR racing. You know, kind of where the sport come from and where it is today type thing. Pretty neat. Got a lot of vintage stuff in here. I mean, just look at some of this stuff. Pretty neat. Back when they used to race on Daytona Beach, as you can see the sand, that's what the car looked like when they used to race on the beach at Daytona. Is that not amazing? I mean, that's where all this started.
Daytona's beach became a racing circuit with hairpin turns.
They got a little video in here playing.
Beach racing in Daytona proved to be immensely popular. Fans turned out in the thousands to watch Van and Sheen battle the
Yeah.
sand and the asphalt.
And of course you can't have NASCAR racing without a liquor still. And I don't know if this is the liquor still that was put together, but Junior Johnson actually come down here when they was building this and actually set the liquor still up, because that was kind of his background. That's how he got started in NASCAR, as he was a you know, he was a moonshiner.
Although moonshine was a dangerous activity, it was usually driven to buyers under the cover of night.
So next up right here we have, like, this is some of the 1950s things. So just look at, like, some of the helmets and what they would wear back then. Tim Flock. I mean, this is the pioneers of the sport, man. There's Ned Jarrett. We looked at his car earlier. Even his suit was blue. Driver's suit. Those suits back then weren't very protective compared to what we have today, that's for sure, you know. I don't know, those guys was really, if you think about when NASCAR started back in the 50s and 60s, and even in the 70s and the 80s, man, if you look at safety, what it was then compared to now, I mean, man, they were brave. Because when they wrecked back then at these big racetracks and stuff, you know, they didn't have a lot of stuff to hold them in there and keep them safe. You know, it was really, you really have to be a special kind of human being to get in there and just floor it and hang on. Holly Farms. A lot of cool stuff in here. Oh yeah, the 1979 dramatic finish and a fight. That was at the Daytona 500. There's Kell Yarbrough. They were fighting for the win and they wrecked. Allison's helmet. As you can see, he's holding it right there. That's it. So here we got, this is one of the greatest finishes. This is Matt Kenseth's Ford Taurus from 2004.
First time in 4 races. I knew he was going to be close. I didn't want to spin the tires off before.
That was the finish of the race right there. Him and I guess that's Casey Kane. Look at that. That was in Rockingham. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. One of these days, this man right here would definitely be in the Hall of Fame.
Looks like he's going to go to the bottom this time. This is where he's been so good.
And I remember watching this photo right here. This is actually from Darlington, and that was Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven. And what a finish that was at Darlington Motor Speedway. I mean, Ricky Craven just got him at the line. It was so exciting. It was very similar to this type of finish. I mean, it was just so close. So we just walked out of this area, the greatest finishes, and we come over here and we actually have a seat, you know, safety seat. So I thought I'd try to squeeze my big booty down in this chair. Oh my God, look at that. Oh man, too many chicken wings. Oh no. All right, so the next up we get to actually see what the difference is back in the day, what an actual stock car looked like. So you can see if you bought a car back then, showroom floor. This here was a Pontiac Grand Prix. See the roof? See how everything clean is? It's just pretty much the paint and some body. So it wasn't a whole lot of difference. If we look at it, you look down like at the valence, they just added some valence to it for aerodynamics, really. Huge difference from what you see today. I mean, this was probably one of the last times that you just, you know, the car was still very similar to what you bought at a showroom and then put it on a racetrack. You know, obviously a lot of work was done to it, but the body itself was still very similar, you know. I mean, look at that. There ain't no real big changes or anything to the race car. You couldn't do that today with today's race cars, that's for dang sure. They ain't nothing alike. And look at the back end. Very minor, small changes and differences. Very little. Look at that. Same height on both sides, on the left and the right. Now, when we go over here, we're going to walk over here and check out a more modern race car and look at the difference. So here we have a more modern, this is the Toyota Camry. Now look at the difference of cars. You'll see what I'm talking about. So this here is your showroom official, well, it's a pace car, but you know, this is what you would buy at your Toyota dealer. You got your wheels. Still very aero car. Look at the difference right here now. Really going to get into it. Look at that. Now look at the height. Look how much taller your car is from the one you would race on the track. It's a massive difference. Kind of zoom in on that roof. I think it was a great idea for them to put this car in here to show you the difference between the showroom car and the actual car that you would take on the track and race. Martin Truex. Oh, they got us some more seats over here. So here is just a regular seat that you would have. Very comfortable, stylish, you know, very nice seat. Now, this here is actually our seat on race day, and I mean it is a cocoon. I mean it really is. You are like it's a real bucket seat. You're almost leaning back. You just imagine sitting here racing, and depending on your spotter, 100%. If you don't know about NASCAR racing, you know, you got your helmet on, you got a visor, you know, as you see, you can't move your head, especially when you have your helmet on. You can only look this way. So your spotter, the person that's in your ear that's up on top of the grandstands, you have to trust him 100% to get you around that racetrack, because you can't see. Peripheral vision is very limited, so you really can't see much. So your spotter means everything. And sitting here in this seat really puts it in a whole new perspective if you've never sat in a seat like this before, because this is about all the movement, eye movement you would have, and everything else. You couldn't tell if somebody was on your outside, on your door, especially if you're at Talladega or Daytona. You're having to really focus and listen to that spotter to say, yeah, 2 on the inside, 1 on the inside, you're in the middle, you're 3 wide. You know, you would have to just really focus and concentrate. And it's right, this sitting in this seat really brings that to life for real. So now if I can just get out of here, let's do this. Oh. Yeah, that is quite interesting. But it is really, really, I mean, you're just pitted down in that thing, almost leaning back. We come around the backside of Mr. Martin Truex's car. Once again, you can see the height differences in a showroom car compared to a race car. A lot of differences. So once you finish off this, I guess we're going to sprint to the finish line now. So we've went through the NASCAR Hall of Fame now, so now we're going to go through the gear shop. All kinds of t-shirts in here. Look at that throwback. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Looks like these shirts are about $24.99 a piece if you're interested. They got plenty of Dale Earnhardt Jr. stuff here. I think it's just pretty cool if you have any young kids. They actually have these hoodies here, future Hall of Famer. I think that's pretty neat. For $29.99. Here's some more kids section. Driver in training. Yeah, that's the way I looked when I was a kid and I was riding go-karts in the backyard. They're $16.99 for those. And then they have some name mugs. They're $15.99. And for any of you guys who are Chase Elliott fans, they got some really nice jackets here. Chase Elliott for $124.99. I like that material, man. Really, those fire suit jackets really are cool. Pretty pretty lightweight too. They're not too heavy, but they look good. I really like that. Then we have some panoramic racetracks. And you know, you have all your t-shirts and stuff, and then they have some pretty nice, like, kind of polo lightweight shirts over here. Just says NASCAR Hall of Fame on them. Not really sure how much they are. Oh, they're $49.99. Yeah, they're pretty nice, you know. They have that real lightweight, almost like a golf shirt. It's pretty cool. A few little jackets. They're $71.99 for that one. It's pretty sporty. And right here upon exit of the store, they have this cute little picture here of Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. way back. Probably in the really early, yeah, 1985. In Hampton, Georgia. Pretty cool. And then right here to our left, if you're hungry after going through all that, you do have a Buffalo Wild Wings. You can go in there and get you some good chicken wings. And that will pretty much do it today here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I had a great time. Definitely recommend coming down here if you're in the area, here in Charlotte, North Carolina, checking out the NASCAR Hall of Fame. A lot of cool stuff in there, interactive. I think it's great fun for the whole family. And yeah, I would definitely recommend it to anybody to come check it out. NASCAR fan or not, I think anybody can go in there and learn a little bit and have fun with what they have, especially the interactive stuff. So if you're new to the channel, please think about subscribing. If you like today's content, give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out a lot. And leave a comment down below if you've ever been here to the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and kind of give me your thoughts of what you thought about it. So I'm gonna go back to my truck now and get warm, because it's still about 36 or 37 degrees here, so it's not warmed up much at all. So I'm all done for today. Thank you for sticking this out and watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in the next video. Later, guys.